and welcome to the Holistic Living, Learning, and Loving podcast, where we are bringing you back to the basics.
We explore sustainable living and holistic health and strive for progress, not perfection.
So please join us on a wellness journey and feel empowered to make positive changes in your life. All right, guys, today we are going to talk about consumerism and its impact on our overall happiness. We are so consumed with needing stuff that we are actually losing sight of what we really should be caring about, what we should be focusing on in our families. What we need to bring us happiness. It's not a bunch of stuff. So today we're going to talk about why consumerism is a problem in our society and what we can do to try to be better about it. So I'm going to kind of start off and give you guys some statistics because I thought that they were really interesting. Like talking about how much stuff do we have? Like I have too much stuff. So material consumption in 2019, this is including fuels. So every person in the United States used 24 tons of products in 2019, 24 tons over that year. That is insane. Like if you think about how much weight that is of all this junk that we use, I mean, that's everything in our lives. Fuel.
It's pretty scary.
It is scary.
Yeah.
So our consumption in the United States is 88% higher than what Europe uses.
Wow.
I mean, Europe is also a very developed country. So it's pretty crazy that it's that much higher in the United States. And then another one that's horrible is that the use of renewable materials has decreased dramatically over the last century. It used to be about 41% renewable materials that we use, but now it's only 5%. So that's really scary too, that we're making new materials. And a lot of this is like building materials. So we're building tons of houses, tons of like warehouses and all this stuff. And we're just consuming so much raw materials in the United States. Metals and gravel and sand and all that stuff. So,
yeah, we're just not even putting any thought into it either. We just continue using up all this stuff. And it's like, how did we even get here? Like a few hundred years ago, we didn't need probably most of the stuff we use now.
No, it's crazy, man. And
a lot of people
started go ahead.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. I will talk. I will just talk the whole time and you'll just be sitting there like, when's my turn?
But I was just gonna say, we've started believing that we need so much, like all these little things in our house. Like we just believe we need this stuff. It's just,
I know. Well, there's a product for everything. Like literally every single thing there's a product for. Like I'm bad about it too. Like I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm not a major consumer. I'm like on Amazon all the time. Like I tried to get the app off my phone so like I won't be as tempted. Like I'm going to have to go to the actual website to like shop. But like right now I want to make homemade ice cream and like I want an ice cream maker.
I've been wanting one too.
But I found one on Facebook Marketplace for $20 and like I need another appliance. Like they say, like I need a hole in my head. Like I have too many appliances as it is in my kitchen, but I think I'm going to buy this $20 ice cream maker.
Well, I mean, if you can make your own ice cream, then you won't be buying any more ice cream from the store.
Yeah. And that like going out to get ice cream as like a special treat, which I mean, that's pretty expensive. It's like, I don't know, like $5 a cup or something.
I mean, I'm into getting the tools you need to be more sustainable or to be, especially if it's going to help you stop being more, stop you from being more of a consumer.
Yeah. Okay, we'll go with that. Yes, I'm going to buy a new ice cream maker.
There you go.
And I don't feel guilty.
I'm glad I helped.
Thanks for that. So one thing that I always thought, like I was doing so much good by like recycling, and, we have the 2 trash cans, one's for only recycling and we, clean all our stuff and put it in there and blah, blah, blah. But guess what? Recycling is a total myth in the United States. Basically, only 8% of plastics in the United States are actually recycled. Most of them are, you're taking the time to recycle the stuff in your house, put it in the bin, take it out separately and all that stuff. But it's not making it into any new products hardly.
So
we used to
I wonder what they're doing with it.
So we used to send it all to poor countries to deal with. Like we would recycle it by sending it somewhere else. But I think maybe last year. I don't remember what year, but recently-ish, those countries stopped taking our waste. And that's so horrible too. To like, we're this like developed nation, and we're gonna send our bullshit to like other countries, poor countries, to deal with, and they're just like
Yeah,
swimming in our waste.
that's really sad.
Ugh, it makes me sick. Um, so
I
yeah,
just I don't understand why we're not using it though. Like, why can't we make things with it?
because it's not as probably not as easy as just
Yeah,
making new stuff. And then,
yeah, probably.
recycling is it's an intensive process to like get it to the good material. And then, you know, like mega companies are not making money off
Right.
recycled stuff.
You're right.
so so why would they want to?
It's just crazy, you know. We just keep making more and more and more, not even like thinking about where it's going or how it's going to affect us. It's
No. And like packaging is so horrible. Like the stuff that we buy in the stores is like over packaged.
yeah.
It's like ridiculous the amount of packaging stuff comes in.
I just had that thought the other day. Like, every time I get a package, I'm just this like in a box and then wrapped in plastic and then bubble wrapped or and then a ton of paper, like just so much. It's like, or half the times it's in like this way bigger box than it even needed to be in the first place.
Hmm.
And then just it's just so that, and then they have to stuff it with all kind of bubble wrap or paper just to fill in the empty void in that big ass box. That was completely unnecessary. I don't know, it's just crazy, like just so much unnecessary packaging materials. Just so many unnecessary things happen, and
I know. And
I
it's just
don't get
like,
it.
what is the point? It's just more trash. No one's keeping packaging. Like I'll try to reuse some stuff when I can. I mean, there's only so much of that stuff you can really reuse. I mean, like around Christmas when I'm shipping stuff back out to other family members, then I'll keep the bubble wrap or whatever. But
But then
I
you have to
mean,
store all of that in your house, and then you're gonna just be a hoarder with all kind of crap laying around. I've tried to do stuff like that, and then I'm like, my house is super cluttered, and I'm just like, it's too much.
all this plastic stuff and, getting constant things off Amazon and wherever else, it's just this convenience factor that like we've just
Yep.
grown so accustomed to, like everything in our lives has to be convenient. I mean, it's kind of the same principle with like, like homemade cooking and stuff like that. Like we've gotten
Yeah.
away from that and then into like hamburger helper and all this other junk that is like literally poison.
Right. Convenience always leads to just toxic, toxic, and toxic in every which way you can think.
Hmm.
Environmentally, in your food, your mind,
Yeah.
all kinds of
Yeah, it's
nasty.
like it's bad for our health because all this stuff, like these plastics are toxic to us. Like we all know that. You can try to make yourself feel better and say like this plastic's safe or whatever, but in all honesty, like all plastic is bad.
Yeah.
Like it was developed in a refinery using petrochemicals. Like it's contaminated with phthalates and stuff like that are endocrine disruptors, like linked to breast cancer and like just nasty stuff. Like it's just all gross stuff. So all that convenience comes at a cost to our health. But also like for the environment too. Like this stuff's horrible for the environment. They're not recycling it. It's just like going in landfills. It's like developing like into like microplastics.
Yeah,
Like
that's what I was going to say. Like at this point, we have plastic. It's in all of our food, our water, our soil. It's everywhere. Like there's no escaping plastic at this point, no matter how hard you try. It's everywhere.
yeah, I believe
And
I read something a long time ago that said that they like tested like fetuses and even like a developing fetus has microplastics.
that's just awful.
It's crazy. So it's like
And I mean,
just
plastic is really handy stuff. I mean, it really is hard to just try to get rid of plastic, but we could do so much better than we're doing right now. And if every person would just eliminate some plastic from their lives, would be widely beneficial.
yeah, I mean like specifically, we talked about it before in one of our earlier episodes is like Tupperwares and things like
Yeah.
that. Like we should be using glass products, stopping using plastic Tupperware, Ziploc bags. Plastic water bottles, like horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like I have like some cups, I'll use uh stainless steel. Yeah, so like I have some glass, like a glass water bottle that I use, or like cup with a straw that I use every day. I don't really like stainless steel. I mean, it has a place, but I don't love it. But I use that like in the summer when I'm like in the car and I'm like want my drink to stay cold, like long term. That's like perfect for those like stainless steel cups. But mostly
That's
I
what I
try to like
use.
drink out of glass.
Yeah.
I
I'll
like
drink
am
out of
not
glass
down
at
with.
home.
I would like rather like be parched and like dying of thirst than like drink out of a water bottle, like a Dasani or some crap.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I have to sometimes, but for the most part, I'm just like so not into it. I just like feel like, what am I? Like, it literally tastes like plastic.
Well, that's because a lot of times these water bottles, they're sitting in heat for long periods of times, in trucks or whatever. And that plastic is just leaching into the water. And they have like linked, like you said earlier, to breast cancer, like a plastic, but I don't know. It was somehow like it was like exactly what's in what the form that's in the plastic water bottles. And from it, like it gets into the water from it being in the sun, but they're always sitting in the sun. And so it's
Hmm.
definitely got plastic in the water. It probably does whether it's in the sun or not. So
Yeah, no, I think anytime you put something in a plastic vessel, you're gonna get microplastics in it,
yeah.
period. And it doesn't matter if it's, people say, well, acidic foods, you can, you know, I
Yeah,
literally
that's
like
all
just
just bullshit.
I know. It's just, and eventually we'll know for sure. But for right now, it's kind of like a gray area. But I don't mess with plastic. I mean, when I go to the grocery store, like I try not to buy anything in plastic containers. But there's some stuff that is just like impossible. Well,
I feel
not
like a lot of
impossible, but
stuff is in plastic at the grocery store. That's really
oh,
hard.
like yogurt, for instance. I mean, we eat like plant based coconut yogurt, and it's all in plastic containers. There's literally one brand called Coco Yo that's in a glass jar, and it's like this big, and it costs like $6 or $5 something. It's like I'm not gonna pay a fortune for this damn yogurt.
Right. Yeah.
So like in plastic it goes, but like I even tried to like buy coconuts and just like make my own yogurt, and that's like too far out for me. That's not
Yeah, I
happening.
mean, we have to make practical changes, or we're just gonna burn out and give up altogether.
Yeah,
But
I'm not like coconuts are very difficult to deal with, and they're kind of like I don't know how like coconut yogurt tastes good because they're like not. I don't think they're good. I think they're pretty gross and like
I've never
slimy
had
and
it.
slithery.
But another option to avoid plastic water bottles, because like I'm still having to buy, like I don't get the little individual water bottles, but I do buy my water in the big jugs. So I mean, it's still in plastic, and it always will be as long as you're buying it.
Mhm.
So, but like, don't you have like a water filtration system?
Yeah, like
So
we have like it's called iSpring, and it's from Amazon, and it's like a reverse osmosis, like so many stage, like 6 or 7 stage water filtering device that we have. We have it we've used it for I mean, we had it at our old house, we have it at this house. We've been using one of these things since like basically 2017, I think. And it's great. I love it. I think the water, like, it has like no flavor at all, like, which I feel like water should be. But we did
yeah,
start remineralizing it. I don't remember why we decided to do that. I think because there are important minerals that are in water that we need.
yeah, that's why
So
they
we
say to
started
drink
putting
like
those
the
back.
spring water and whatnot. But I like this. We always buy distilled water because like has no taste, and that's what we
Yeah.
like. But you could
Well,
always just
that's
add like a
what
pinch of
RO
Celtic
water
salt.
is.
Is it
It's
Celtic
just,
salt?
like, how do you say it?
Yeah,
I don't
I don't
know.
know if I'm saying that right,
I
but
think Celtic or
Celtic.
I don't think Celtic is it. I don't know. Like, yeah, I don't know.
Oh well, you get the point. Sea
You get the
salt.
point. Some salt. Yeah, sea salt. There you go. So yeah, and then like I'm obsessed with sparkling water. It's like an addiction. Like my dad's addicted to Diet Coke and I am addicted to sparkling water. It's genetic.
Yeah, it must be. I think sparkling water is so gross.
It's funny because like the first time I drank it, I thought I was like, I remember being like overseas, I think in Spain, like my first trip. Mike and I had just started dating. We went overseas. It was the first time I ever left the country. And we went to Spain and I ordered some water and I was so pissed because they like brought me water, like sparkling water. And I was like, ugh, I can't even drink this. It's so horrible. Like, who would drink this? And then like I just like kept like trying it over time. And then one day I was like, I love this.
That's cool. I know it's crazy how you could just like come around to something and start loving it. That's
Yeah,
definitely
I
happened
think
to
you
me
have
a
to
few
start with like
times.
the flavored ones probably is like easier.
Yeah.
But so sparkling waters, that's like totally unsustainable. Like, and I'm so bad. I'm gonna like preach about this and guess what I'm drinking? A sparkling water in a can.
So let's just make a note. Like we're trying to bring awareness, right? Like because not because we're coming from a place of perfection or that we've even like got this on like at any level of you know what I mean? Like we're still very
We're
much
just
working at this.
trying.
Yeah, but
Yes,
it's like
every
it's got to
day.
start somewhere. We've got
Yes.
to like we've all got to become aware to where we could start to find solutions, you know?
Yes.
Because at this point there really isn't very many real good solutions. You know, like
No.
we could try
We
to
just
eliminate things and do better, but we really have to come together as a world, like all the people of the world, and like really start caring. We need people to care.
yes.
It's got to start with that, with everybody starting to care, you
Yes.
know?
Yeah, and so like we're not perfect. It's progress, not perfection, like we
Right.
say in the intro. And it's funny because it's like a friend of mine's a personal trainer and his business is Start Today Fitness. And so my husband always jokes around, start tomorrow. I'm like, no, 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 we're starting today. So we need to start today on these things. But yeah, like, so we started out with the sparkling waters. I was drinking like an absurd amount of cans and I was like, this is horrible. Like, I cannot keep wasting all these cans. And so we got like what is it called? The like little, Soda Stream. And you can buy the Soda Stream. And then even that was like expensive because I was like draining out the carbon dioxide filters or canisters. So then my husband's an engineer, so he can't help himself, but he like designed keg system in our old house. And so we have sparkling water on tap and we make like 5 gallons at a time and like our reverse osmosis water goes into a keg and then we have a carbon dioxide tank in the refrigerator and then that like fills it up and makes it sparkling basically.
And that's a
So
great example of just trying to eliminate waste. You
yeah.
know, like you still get to enjoy your sparkling water, but you've
Hmm.
eliminated all of the aluminum cans, you know, in the
Yes,
process. So
so many.
that's the kind of stuff we're trying to get out, you know, or
Yeah.
the message we're trying to get across here.
So we kind of like dove into like food and water and all that stuff, but like backtracking a little bit, we kind of wanted to talk about fashion because that's like a big thing. This whole like fast fashion revolution. You got your like Sheins and your Timus and all that stuff, and even Amazon, and I mean,
Yeah.
really everywhere. I mean, Target, Walmart, everybody's on like the fast fashion
Yeah, that is like the
bandwagon.
biggest new thing now. Like everybody's like, "Oh, I got this for $5, Sheen," or I say Sheen. I don't know how people say it. Or Timu. Like everybody like brags about the good prices they got from these places, but like, and a lot of people they really don't care. Like you could say,
No,
"Oh, well, it's probably made with all of these really toxic chemicals from China." It's you know they don't have the regulations we have. Blah blah blah. Or and it's you know the sweatshops, everything. But sadly, not enough people care. And we really hope, like, I will not buy from those companies,
no, absolutely not.
you know, and like the sweatshops alone, that's awful, you know, that's
Well, like
slavery.
most of the people that are like working in these fast fashion, like the Shein and all that stuff, they are like women and girls who are working in like horrible conditions, like being mistreated, like not paid anything. I mean, like to be able to produce something, you have to understand
Yes.
that the people that are physically like making it are suffering, you
Yes. Like,
know?
think about how could it possibly be that cheap? You
Yeah.
have to ask yourself that. How is something so cheap? Like, that can go into our food system too. Like, how is the food so cheap? That's a whole nother thing. But like, when something is so cheap that when you start doing the math and you're like, that doesn't even seem possible, there's a reason for that. You
Yeah.
know, they're making huge savings somewhere.
Yep. So these poor people are getting mistreated. And then also, like, they're putting, they're using like subpar manufacturing processes that are contaminated with heavy metals, chemicals, phthalates, like all this nasty stuff that you're just like putting on your body all day long, sweating in, you're putting on your children,
Yes.
like,
And your skin absorbs. Your skin is your largest organ. It is absorbing everything that you put on it. You have to believe that and understand that. Whatever goes on your skin is going in your body.
yes. And then, like, I'm guilty. Just like we said, we're all guilty.
Yeah.
Like, like, I buy too much clothes and like different things every year, every season, more bathing suits. I'm bad about buying bathing suits all the time and, all this stuff. But, and like you think, well, I'll thrift it, I'll like donate it to a thrift store or whatever. But in most cases, like they say 80% of donated clothing goes in a landfill or is incinerated. So most of that stuff is not even getting used at all.
Like, why
So
can't they even just send that to poor countries where they need clothes?
I don't know,
I
but
know, like,
like,
it seems like we could get some use out of that somehow. The fact that it just gets incinerated is, unless maybe they don't need it. Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, maybe not. Maybe I think they already do get a lot of clothing. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's what I
whenever
was
you
just
see
thinking.
videos, like I see them wearing like
Like American
teams,
clothes and stuff.
like American like sports teams and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
I
And
know. I had the same thought. So yeah, they're probably already getting overloaded with all these clothes that might be shipped in or whatever, and they don't even need it. That probably would explain a lot in it of itself. That if people in need already have
too
more
much.
clothes than
Yeah.
they need, then that's
They're like,
off.
can you please
Not
send
awful, but
food?
yeah, like there's way more clothes than we need. That's actually something I've been working on a lot. I've gotten really cheap in my in my like the recent years. I like to go spend money on clothes. Just like when I see the price tag, I'm just like, oh, I can't, And like I don't.
Yeah.
I'm a stay at home mom now, so I don't like need to. I don't feel like I need to impress people much. So anyway, and I'm all into like organic cotton, natural fibers. So and to buy organic cotton clothes sometimes is expensive, but
Absolutely.
I use ThreadUp to
Hmm.
buy, or I thrift, and I also try to buy clothes that are like simple, solid colors, like simple clothing that's like t-shirt style, or these solid colors, solid color bottoms that are casual or could be dressed up easily. That way it's more of like a capsule wardrobe where you have
Yeah.
like pieces that all go together. You can mix and match, and it's just a smaller amount of clothing. I think that's like really good ways to avoid all this fast fashion, and you buy quality products or quality clothing that'll last longer rather than the whole cheap stuff from China that you wear once and
Polyester.
it falls apart.
Yeah. Like what I like to do is on ThreadUp. I really like ThreadUp. They always have sales and stuff like that, and you can find some really decent prices on stuff. But I'll search by brands, like Pact is like in the organic cotton brand. You can search by Pact or by whatever brand you're into, or like I'll search by like cotton or wool or whatever, linen,
Yeah,
and try to
that's what
like
I
buy
do.
those materials instead of like polyester, because polyester, rayon, all that stuff is contaminated again with plastics and
Right.
microplastics and phthalates and all that stuff. So but I mean, I still love active wear, and that's like
That's a hard
problematic.
one. I know. I think all of us women are like addicted to activewear, and like it's so hard to not want to wear that.
Yeah, it's like
Um,
nice and stretchy and it like tucks you in
yeah.
real tight, your mom pooch.
Yeah. Yeah. I've pretty much like the main thing that's hard for me to get away from is leggings. Like I
Hmm.
don't need like the shirts and all of that, or even the
Yeah,
sports bras.
yeah.
Like I don't even wear bras anymore.
Yeah, I know.
But the leggings, man, I need leggings in my
I
life, at
know.
least
Leggings is
sometimes.
hard, and I do wear bras. I haven't been able to get down with not. I don't think I'm as perky as you, Rachel.
Well, I'm very small breasted, so I don't know. I've
So it's really
had to
hard,
embrace it.
but I've been trying to do it. And I bought some really cute like linen dresses from ThreadUp, and I've gotten a lot of compliments on them every time I wear them. They're kind of like Momo dresses, I think. Like they're not fitted at all. They're just kind of baggy and free flowing,
I
but
love those. That's my fave.
they're very comfy. They have pockets. It's very nice.
Yeah.
And
But
then it's
yeah,
like you
there's
don't need a ton of stuff. Like
you don't.
like I've gotten in this thing where I was buying panties like all the time. Like I had so many panties in my drawer, like overflowing with panties. Like I
Yeah.
don't need like 30 pairs of panties. That's like
Yeah,
insane.
you're right. I feel like probably most women have that problem, like a drawer full of panties. Like I do right now. And I had that thought the other day. I was like, why do I have all of these? I don't wear most of them. And some of them are like 15 years old that I don't even fit in. I don't even know why they're in there.
Oh my God, that reminds me. Remember when we were kids and we went through our bad phase and we were like playing around with stealing and we
Oh,
would
God.
go to Sears at the mall and we would steal like these like thong, like we were young. I mean, we were like early teens and we'd steal like these like thong panties.
And we would layer them on like 10 or 15 of them in the dressing room and walk out looking like we were wearing a diaper.
So, so
That's
wrong.
awful.
Sorry guys, don't steal.
I was about to say, don't steal, folks. That's not the message we're trying to put out.
We were bad. We were going through our little rebellion phase. Yeah, so like reduce how much stuff you need. You don't need to buy, like think about like do I really need this? Like do I need another sports bra? Do I need another pair of panties? Um like that I'm just constantly whenever I want something like with the ice cream maker, I'm like, do I really, really, really need this? Am I going to
Yeah.
use it? Do I already have these that I don't need any more of? You know, so I really try to do that. And then, like we said, thread up, thrifting, Poshmark is okay. I find it's kind of expensive with their shipping fees. But then another one, I mean, I don't buy anything without looking on Facebook Marketplace. Facebook Marketplace for me is like number one.
I need to start getting I like for clothes.
Well, not necessarily for clothes. Like we have Mike's brothers and sister-in-law and my nephew are coming over this weekend. And so we have like this huge office up here, but we need another bed space. So we bought this like $300 day bed that like makes into a king bed for
Oh
this
wow.
room. And it came with the mattresses and everything, and so it's just like trying to be sustainable. Again, like I don't need to buy a brand new one. There's people are selling them. There's nothing wrong with them. I mean, I pray that there's not like bed bugs or something that is a chance.
That would be awful.
That would be so then I would be like, I'm never doing this again.
But hey, you could
So
at least just do the bed frame,
yes.
or the
If you're feeling
furniture.
risky, you can buy the
Yeah.
whole thing. It's probably better to like leave it in your garage or patio or something for like a week and like
Yeah, I
make
think there's like
sure.
precautions that you can
But we
take.
did not take them. Pray for
Well,
me.
I wish you the best of luck with that one. But yeah,
So,
like we don't like there's so many people selling things all of the time. Like I don't buy brand new furniture hardly ever. Like
mhm.
we just bought a brand new sofa, but like as far as like wooden furniture and things like that, I always buy that secondhand. Sometimes most of them I just get it off the side of the road and fix it up. A little paint does wonders on a lot of things. And
Oh,
and then
I'm
if we buy from people selling on marketplace or whatever, like that's money going into in the pocket of your community, like people in your community instead of these big stores and buying more junk that's going to go in a landfill. Like just we have to stop.
yeah. No, absolutely. I uh always check that, like the ice cream maker, buying on that. I mean, I buy stuff all like I don't need. Again, I'm like in my head, do I really need a pool float? Or a pool float broke and I would like to relax in the pool, but there's someone selling some pool floats on Facebook Marketplace that like I think I'm gonna buy those instead of buying it brand new. So
And save
um
money, like
yeah,
instead of
saving
spending
money
all this
too.
unnecessary money.
That's another thing that I think people neglect. It's like, yes, okay, there's like an environmental burden, bad. There's a toxicity burden, bad. there's like the like consumerist mentality, you know, which we'll talk about a little bit more, but also it's like it's your pocketbook, it's your
Yeah.
family's money. Like, do you need to waste your money on this stuff? Like, um, it's just crazy how many people will put themselves in debt or put themselves in like a bad way, like a financial crisis
To keep up with the
or
Joneses. I mean, I think
yeah,
a lot of people don't believe that they do that, but they do. And
yeah,
like we've even been there. I feel like I remember we needed a new car, and we quickly, first we are gonna get a used car, but then we were like, oh, like we wanted this brand new Palisade, and it's like you see other people getting new cars, and you're like, I want one too, and like you don't realize that you're doing it, but you
hmm,
are, you're doing it, and then luckily we were able to get out of that situation, and we came to the realization, that that's not what's important in life, but a lot of people don't, and they just keep on. Like we think because other people have these things that we need this, we have to do this because people will think that we're not fancy, or we don't have money, or we're not classy enough, or whatever, whether you're actively thinking that or it's in your subconscious, you're feeling that way. Like those things are not important, like save your money. It's you
and
really
that,
have to
like
just.
just and like aside from keeping up with the Joneses, I think it's also like an internal thing. Like, I deserve this. I
Yeah,
worked
that too.
hard. Like, I need this. I should
Yeah,
have this. You know, and it's like in reality, like you don't need it. You probably don't need it. Like, I mean, you deserve it. Like, I mean,
your
you could,
work, you have to work hard so you
yes,
can pay for all this shit. Maybe if
yeah,
we didn't feel the need to buy all this shit, we wouldn't have to work so hard. That's what I'm trying to
exactly.
get after.
Yep. That's like
I'm
if you
tired of
think
Nick
about
working
how
so
many
hard.
hours you have to work to pay off said thing, then think about like, is that really worth it? You know?
Yeah, this many hours of my life,
Yeah.
because that's
But
what
I
it
also think
is.
about that too, like by like, oh, I could make this so and so thing, but it's gonna take me like
Yeah,
however many hours, and is that really worth my time? It kind of goes both ways
yeah,
sometimes.
yeah, it does for
No,
sure.
I mean, like it's hard, and you know, it's this mental thing of that, and also like the mental thing of, you know, buying stuff feels good.
It
You
does.
know, it's like a
It does.
dopamine rush. Like it
It's a
feels
drug.
fulfilling and rewarding, and uh, like it's exciting. Some things are exciting, you know, and
But
so
I've
that's hard too.
I've watched people, so many people in my family and outside of my family, try to fill emotional voids with buying crap.
I
Like
know.
whether it's expensive toys or just shopping for clothes or whatever. Like I've seen this happen to so many people where they just keep buying stuff and you can tell that they're just trying to fill a void. And that's never going to fill the void. It's never going to bring you the happiness. That is just like an instant gratification type of thing, brings you happiness for a small amount of time and then that's gone. It's not worth it.
No, man, I know it's like you're right about that. I've seen a lot of people spend money that they don't have on stuff that they don't need, and then not even have money to like serve, like have food for the rest of the month and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And it's just like crazy to me to like put yourself in that situation, and you know, just makes me be like, I will never do that. But then again, like you find yourself like in situations like I read something the other day. If you, it's not like necessarily, I gotta stop saying like, it's driving me crazy. I'm gonna try. It's not necessarily big, huge purchases all the time. It's the little ones that add up over time.
Microtransactions.
Yeah, I saw something that said if you spend $27 a day, then it will basically be almost $10,000 by the end of the year. And
Yeah.
that's like that's massive, you know?
Yep.
And I mean, I know like I'm so quick to jump on Amazon. Oh, I need this, I need that. And you know, we'll get into this place where we'll say, all right, let's go into a fiscal fast. So then I'll delete Amazon, try my best like not to buy stuff.
It's definitely something you have to stay mentally aware of like all the time because everywhere you turn somebody's trying to sell you something. Like everywhere, it's billboard signs, stores, commercials, ads. It's
People,
Yeah, people, it's
ML mid
everywhere.
what is it called? MLM.
Yeah, like what is
I
that
can't,
like?
multi-level marketing.
Yeah, yeah, people are always trying to sell stuff, which
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna hate on those people, like let them do
Everybody's
their
trying to make a
thing.
living.
But like, um, we just have to stay aware. Like you said, like you constantly have to ask yourself, do I really need this? Because like it's so easy to let yourself go there and say, I do need this, I do need this. But like if you would just sit on it for a little while, you usually can come to the conclusion that you don't need it.
Yeah. And
And
like, if
it
you're ever telling yourself in your head, I deserve this, please go do something else with your time that you deserve. You deserve to go have time to yourself. I mean, I'm big on experiences over stuff. Like, I would
yeah.
much rather spend our money on like travel or something else instead of just like more junk in my house. But I have so much junk anyway, so it's hard to say that really.
Me too. I'm trying to get rid of all the junk in my house right now. It's the more junk you have, that's the more stuff that you have to manage. It weighs on you mentally,
Yes,
like
it's horrible.
that's more stress. Like
No, and it's like,
minimalism is a good thing to try. I'm
and
trying to
it's
get
like
there.
it's crazy too because um so recently a friend of my mom's passed away, an older lady, and it's so crazy to go into someone's house after they've passed away and see like all this stuff. And like they just have to, like, they're going to pick out like 10 things that they want, and
Hmm.
all of that stuff just goes in the trash. And so we were kind of helping out a little bit. And I was just like looking around, like after the family all came and took everything they want, everything else was just left. And I was just like, this is so sad. This is like someone's life, their pictures, their clothes, like everything, literally everything that they've held on to, and their knickknacks and those little trinkets and stuff like that. And just all just going in the trash. And it's hard. That's like so depressing to think about, but it's also depressing to think about the kids and the relatives that have to clean up after
Yeah.
their parents and their relatives lives when they like are hoarders. Like, I have a friend that had to go clean up after her parents passed away, unfortunately and suddenly. And they had so much stuff, like it took her a year to like
Yeah.
get rid of all the stuff.
We really become a slave to all of these things. It
Yeah.
controls our lives and all for nothing. Like we really like people in all of history lived with very little. People
Hmm.
still there's still people around in the world that live with very little. Like I don't how did we get here?
I don't know,
It
man. I think it's very much driven, like our society is like America is
yeah,
driven off of money, and
money,
we're
money,
making more
money.
money, and you got to have a good job, you got to go to college, you have to earn all this money to spend it all on this stuff that
Yeah.
you don't need, and that like ultimately is bad for you. But just to keep this like the wheel and the cog going in our society of consumerism, because these billionaires in our country are just getting richer off of us. They're
Yeah.
getting our labor, and then we're using our money to pay for their stuff.
I know. Like once you start really like looking into this and you start questioning everything. Like why do we work away from our homes all day, away from our families, most of our life till we're old just to pay for all of this stuff that we don't have any time to enjoy because we're always working to pay for this stuff. When if
Yeah.
you think about it, what if you had less stuff? Like you had hardly nothing and you barely ever had to work and you could just be home with your family most of the time, having experiences, hiking, playing in the woods. I don't know, do whatever you like to do. But
Yeah.
like things that don't cost money. But if you once you start actually trying to live that life, you're like, this is freedom. That is freedom. This American dream that they have sold us is slavery,
Yes.
in my
It's like
opinion.
modern day slavery. We're just enslaved to our stuff.
Yeah.
And that's like, people are just so obsessed with making more money so that we can just have more of our stuff and spend less of our time with people that matter.
Yeah. And
I
what
remember, that reminds me, like, you were telling me the other day about like your ex and his family, and how his dad was like stay at home. Remember that
well
story?
he they like his dad just worked a lot of like from what I understood,
Yeah.
like odd and end jobs. Like I guess like he would go shrimping when he could, or like he would just do like these random things when the time was right, or in season to make a little bit of money here and there. And at the time, I thought that was so strange because all I knew was you go, you get a job, you work 9 to 5 or whatever, you work,
Hmm.
you finance a home, you pay your bills, and that's what you should do.
Yeah.
And but he was home a lot and they were happy. Like they were a really peaceful family. They were happy with their simple life. And like now I get it. Like I totally get it. And that's what I'm striving for. And I'm like, they
Yeah.
had it figured out. Like they were okay with that. They didn't have to have all these fancy things. They just, I guess they knew this already, you
Yeah.
know? And now
They
that's what
had
we're
figured
trying to
that out.
do. Yeah, we're trying to get Nick home, find a way. We want to sell this house and find something way cheaper. We're even considering living in a camper. We want land. That's very important to us. But or get a something cheap, build a tiny home or something, and get rid of all the stuff we have because we don't need most of it. And we just want to be together. We don't want to
Hmm.
wait till we're old and our kids are grown to be together, you know?
Yeah. And it's like, we like look past it and like think, oh, well, later when I'm retired or whatever. But like every day is not guaranteed in our life.
Mm,
And our kids are growing like so fast, and we only have our children for a short period of time. We only have our health for a period of time in most cases. And why should we waste our good years with our
yeah,
families that we could be having on working so hard for what?
right.
you know
Just because we were told that's what you're supposed to do, you
yeah.
know? Like you should go to college. That's what successful people do. Or like I don't, I'm not pushing my kids necessarily. I mean, not that people, obviously some people need to go to college. We need doctors, we need lawyers, whatever. But like simple lives, that is freedom. Like that is the freedom I want. Like I can taste it. I want it. Like I'm so tired of being a slave to this system.
I know. I tell Mike all the time, I'm like, what if we? That's always like how it's. He's like, oh, here we go. Here we go. What is the next bit? What if we? He's going to laugh when he listens to this part. What if we sold our house and just like lived off, like put that in our bank account or whatever, and like moved somewhere else that's way cheaper or whatever,
Oh
like in
yeah.
another country, Costa Rica or something, and just
Yes.
like live totally different, even if it was just for 6 months or a year, just to
Yeah.
feel it. Because he's like, Heather, you are going to hate not having Whole Foods within 5 minutes of your house. But I just like, I like have this desire to just like try it. And I think
Yes, you
it would be
have to
so
put yourself,
cool.
yes, listen, you have to put yourself in uncomfortable situations. You have to force yourself to be in that situation. And then once you do, you realize, oh, I can live without Whole Foods. Like, I don't need this. You do
Yeah.
need it now. That's what you're used to. But once you're forced to not need it, you just adjust.
Yeah.
Humans are so adaptable. Like,
Hmm.
you just have once you get out of that mindset of thinking you need all these things, because the past like shoot, it's been a while now. 15 years of my life, I had a rough past, and like I had to adapt and like constantly to different situations and rough situations, and like I, although it wasn't a good past, it taught me a lot about just being adaptable to
Hmm.
anything and making whatever I had work. And
Yes.
it was a really a good tool to learn. And now I feel
Yeah.
like I could just adapt to anything. I could live anywhere. I could, I mean, I can't live in an infested house of roaches and bugs, but other than that, I could. I think I could live without electricity.
Oh, wow.
I know. I'm pushing it with that
I
one,
don't know.
but
I went down to Montague when I was a kid, and my like great uncles and stuff lived down there, and they didn't have like air conditioners, and that was pretty brutal in the middle of summer.
yeah, I know. But like, think about it. Like, you'd find some shade,
I
and
want
go.
to go like primitive camping and get like a taste of that without the commitment.
Yeah, yeah. For sure. But yeah, we
But
are totally adaptable. Like you can do so much more than you think.
it's hard too because it's like, and what his reasoning is like, well, we could like, well, I mean, he didn't even say we could do that, no. But if you did that, then we're funding a 401k and we're putting money aside for the girls for their futures, and then that all has to stop. But I don't know, it's like in my head I would do that in a heartbeat, and I
It just depends on what your family's priorities are, like
yeah.
everybody, it has different priorities, and like that's could be so necessary for someone's family, you know what I mean? But
Hmm.
for mine, like I know my kids are so down for that,
Yeah.
I could probably throw them in the woods and they'd love it, and
Hmm.
that's just works for us though, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But like there's always a form of this for each family though, you know what I mean? Like maybe you do still need to work and you do still want your kids to go to college, but we could
Hmm.
still do so much more to make our lives more simplistic and stop slaving away as much as we are, because we're still just so many people are working just to pay for a bunch of crap that they don't
Yes.
need.
All right, guys, that was a lot of great information. I hope you guys are still with us. So, initially, Rachel and I planned that this would be one episode, but obviously, we talk so much and cannot get all of that in one episode. So, this is going to be a series. Come join us again next week. We have had a great time, and please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Bye, guys.